and introduce, actually I'll pass it off to TJ to introduce our first entrepreneurial company.
Hey everybody, good morning. So Perry is, I met her a few weeks back at Coffee and Creatives that Roxanne Blair's been putting on, and really impressed with Perry's business model, but also business, and what she's doing, having a local inception point, but really a global footprint and a global impact. So really cool. If you don't know about Perry and her company, you will after this, and I'm really excited for the discussion to follow too. Let's give her a warm 1 Million Cups welcome.
Thank you. Thanks a ton. This is my first time here, and what a beautiful space. Oh my God. I keep wanting to come. Anything that Eric does, I want to participate, attend, whatever it is. Most Wednesdays, I'm doing a podcast called Self-Employed Happy Hour. I'll tell you about it in a minute. So we just wrapped for the season, and so here I am, glad I could be here for the last one. My name is Perry Packeru, and I'm here to talk about Pyrograph, which is a creative career magazine online based in Albuquerque, but read by and contributed to creatives worldwide. So spacebar to move? Yeah, there you go. Here we go. 6 minutes is so quick, so I'm going to give you just a quick little introduction, and then you can ask me all the questions. We're an online career and lifestyle magazine for artists, musicians, designers, filmmakers, photographers, writers, and micro-businesses worldwide. What I'd like to, focus on today, I think we have a really innovative publishing model, and I also think because we're Albuquerque-based and we focus on creative industries, and we have global readers and global contributors, I'm hoping to get support from the business community and have you recognize the opportunity to expose Albuquerque's creative industry and workers worldwide, and we've been doing that with Pyrograph, so I'll show you a little some examples of that. So 5 main slides, introduction and quick facts. We post daily. We have a daily publishing model. Every day we post original first-person posts from working artists, creatives, filmmakers, everything that I mentioned before. Their focus is to share a story, hopefully an entertaining story, a compelling story, with some practical tips and lessons learned. Honest posts with mistakes made, sharing the way, learning things the hard way. It's not just about people who have made it. It's advice from other creatives for other creatives. And I'll tell you a little bit when we talk about the startup story, how I came to that. I'm a business consultant, and I came at this from my background as a business consultant. But this is not consultants sharing what artists should do to push forward their careers. It's other artists who do that. So we have daily posts. We launched in February 2013. We have grown to approximately, it's actually about 6,500 now unique visitors per month. We started at about 1,600, so we're doing well. We've divided into 6 main channels: art, music, design, film, stage, writing, and microbiz. Let's see if this link works. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can get a full screen. Look at that. Okay, so this is an example. This is our site. Every day, the main post shows up in the big photo, and as you see down below, it goes in reverse chronological order. I'm doing it backwards. There we go. So this is what our site looks like. It's, again, all about the artists, about first-person artists. Let's see. Going back to my presentation. No, sorry. How do I get back to Keynote?
Keyboard shortcuts.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, and then moving forward. Unique publishing model, and with the Q&A, I'd love feedback from you. Our main thing is revenues from sponsors through advertising and branded content, and I think we have a really innovative branded content model where everything really feeds our editorial mission. I come also from a background in editorial and publishing. I've been an editor for a really long time, and I hate pay-for-play. And I agonized for a long time. In today's online publishing world, you kind of have to do some form of branded content. And over time, I really feel like we evolved to a place where everything serves our editorial mission. And that's one of the ways that we're innovative. We're very artist-centric as well. So we do have sponsors who support us. us, they get exposure, they get branded content, and we also have a subscription-based program called Pyrograph Premium. We just launched it on Monday, so I'm like low on sleep. We launched that. It's $15 a year. Almost everything is the same that it has been for the last year and a half, except subscribers who pay $15 a year. Again, our readership is creatives. They get some nice downloads, some sample contracts to license their artwork or to license their music to a film or a spreadsheet to manage their projects. We're going to be adding to those every month. For $15 a year, I think it's an easy sell. So the two big things are sponsors, Pyrograph Premium. There's a lot of other ways. One thing about online publishing, it's not just about advertising. You have to just leverage your audience that comes to you. So we do some sales, we do some affiliate agreements. There's all kinds of stuff that we do besides the sponsorships and the premium, but those are the two big prongs. The innovative aspect, again, just going back to the branded content, is aligning artists' needs for self-promotion with our editorial mission to share entertaining and informative stories. And in that way, it's kind of win-win. So we can talk more about that. The startup story is basically, I have a background in publishing and also a background in law. And for a long time, I was a business writer. Here's one of my books, The Women's Small Business Startup Kit. But more and more, I found myself working with creatives. And with my coaching business, a lot of times creatives can't afford a coach or a consultant. So in many ways, Pyrograph has kind of turned my expertise into a publishing model. And another thing was, I only have so much to say, and I was trying to kind of get back into blogging every day. After I had a couple kids, I was like, I'm going to reinvigorate my career. And trying to blog, I mean, it was okay, but after a few months of that, I was like, how about other artists share with each other their failures and successes in booking, in managing contracts, in intellectual property that was stolen from them. And that was my light bulb moment where it's other artists who can share their experiences, because I really only have so much to share. What else? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Sponsorship benefits. The sponsorship model, like I said before, we offer a display ad, which everybody offers, but the innovative thing that we offer is exposure editorially. So if you have a story and messaging that you want to get out to the world in an editorial or creative format, we do that very, very well. We don't say yes to everybody. You have to be a good fit where you have creative stories to share that are of interest to creatives. But for instance, if you're a ticketing agency, maybe how to better promote your band, how to make your band appealing to a booking agency. Or if you're a publishing company, you could have blog posts about what authors can do to get a book deal, those kinds of things. So we don't say yes to everybody. If you're not the right fit as a sponsor, then we'll just kick you over to display advertising, which is, we have more than 1,000 pages of content now, so it's it's great exposure. But it's really the branded content that I think is exciting that makes us tick. Let's see. Pyrograph Premium, we just launched this on Monday. It's the readership subscription-based model. I already gave you an intro. It's $15 a year, and you get downloads. Most everything else is still free. So it's not really a paywall per se. It's a granular post-by-post thing where we're putting just a few special things premium, special for our premium subscribers. So I think that was 6 minutes. Oh, my God, that was so fast. Thank you, guys.
Questions? Let's start it off.
Yeah.
Unique eyeballs. How many unique visitors are you getting?
About 6,500 a month at this point. We're at about 300, somewhere between 250 and 300 a day.
Okay, so that 6,500 figure, that's actually your
Uniques.
full user base. That's not your. For some reason, I thought that might have been your worldwide contributor.
No, we have approximately 100 people in our contributor stable. Some are way more active than others. A couple are, were entered and we haven't heard from them since. But we have about 100, and they are worldwide.
So if I'm a sponsor, I'm an advertiser, what's the big incentive for me if I only have 6,500 eyeballs to market to? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to.
Sure. Well, we're growing. We're not very expensive. And one of the things that we offer with the branded content is we do a nice job. I think that our site looks really great. And some of our content, I'll pull up a couple of things. Once that's live, and again, we don't say yes to everybody. It really does need to fit our editorial model. And when that's up, you can share that. And again, for certain sponsors, they might not have publishing competencies within their company. We do. So if you need some messaging, if you need help getting your message out, we can help you put together something really beautiful. And that is helpful to other creatives and helps extend your brand to those creatives.
Where does most of your traffic come from?
Every month, California edges out New Mexico, but it's California, New Mexico, and then New York.
Where does the traffic come from? Where is it? Google searches organically? Or?
Google and Facebook are kind of even, and then Twitter, and we're extending into more channels, but those are the big ones. Pardon me? Yeah, and we're not doing very well with that right now. It's languishing, but we're stretched a little thin. So it's true. It's true.
What are your target reach goals, and how do you plan to get there?
Well, right now, with launching Pyrograph Premium, that's a big part of our initiative, and we're going to be actually putting a little bit of ad money towards that because we really have been, we're pretty much all self-financed. We have not spent a lot of money on advertising up until now, and now that we are really kind of launching that program, we are going to be doing a little bit more paid outreach, and just continually, we're really growing organically, and when we're using a lot of social media. Our YouTube channel is activating right now. We've had it there, but it's starting to happen more, and so we're just leveraging social media, and there's been a renewed push since August for various reasons, but we kind of had a new lease on life starting in August, and since then, I mean, we've already grown monthly from about 5,000 to, we're almost at 7,000. It's about 6,500. So the trajectory is going the right way. But it's bit by bit. And one thing that's different about the publishing industry than other businesses, and again, putting on my business consultant hat a little bit, is most products, you build the product and it has a certain value. Now, yes, you can enhance that value through branding and marketing and make it seem more, but it's got basically a certain value. Online publishing, any publishing is actually different. So you create your product, but it doesn't really have value until you get the traffic. And so there's the initial build, and then there's a whole other build. We're in the second build of that right now. And so it's time consuming. We don't have print costs, so that's nice.
I have a question.
Yeah.
A couple of questions, actually, kind of asking that question in a different way. What have been some of the big sponsorship wins? Like, where have you seen the most traction and seen that engine working the most? And then the next question is, what does your team look like right now? You mentioned being spread a little thin. That's obviously, it's always a kind of topic of discussion I like to tap into. So,
yes.
And you have a potential, allies here?
Absolutely. Well, our first sponsor and consistent sponsor has been 516 Arts, and they're perfect for us because they have stories to tell. There are artists. There are visuals, and so depending on for their One Beat event, which happened just about a month ago, we did a really beautiful spread. Where is that? See, I'm not going to waste time actually doing that, but we did a beautiful spread, and we covered a lot of their artists, and we're starting to extend this. I'm foreshadowing, talking about my team. We're starting to expand into obvious things like sending photographers to more events, and getting more creative assets by working with our sponsors and working with sponsors like 516 that have great stuff to shoot. Excuse me. Yes, our team is currently me, and there are 3 other editors. One is Sage Harrington, who is our managing editor currently, and then we have 2 contributing editors, Josh Stuyvesant and Jeremy Kinter. They're awesome. Sage has been on board since the very beginning. Josh and Jeremy just came on this summer. And we're all very editorial, and we're a great team, but it was, again, we kind of reactivated in August, and we were sitting around the editorial meeting table, and I was like, geez, we are all so editor-like, and we really are lacking creative. We don't really have a creative department. I'm creative. I'm the, and I'm not a designer. I'm so sick of my own design. So that's one of the things I'm excited about is as we grow, we actually have a creative resident starting in January, and it's a program that we're going to be offering every month. And so we're branching into taking creative more seriously and just putting more resources towards it. Yeah.
So I was kind of blown away by the mentor list on creative startups.
Yes.
Wondering if you're leveraging that network.
Yes, I have met with Roxanne. I have been interacting with them and seeing what way, again, they have stories. I would love to, partner with some content development, and we've talked about that, and they're a great group to be interacting with, and it just hasn't quite gelled yet. But
And just quick add there is, it wasn't, creative startups I think is amazing.
yeah.
It was more the mentor list as I searched
Yeah.
the mentor list. I thought it was unreasonably, right? And it's
Totally.
to be partly because creative startups was so uniquely placed.
Well, Alan Weber, the founder of Fast Company, yeah, if he'd be my mentor, is he in the room? Yeah, there's some amazing people on there. So,
That's as much as you can do to try to tie into that.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe you could cover creative startups next,
Exactly.
next program.
yeah. Yes.
I was going to you had mentioned that you were going to try advertising, paid advertising.
Yes.
And I would say, look at the lifetime value of your unique visitors.
Mm-hmm.
Usually for advertising sites, it's on the order of 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And to try and get one costs 50 to $1.
No, I'm sorry. Are you talking about us buying ads? Okay, just to clear. Yeah.
I would look very carefully at doing that and trying to pay for itself as almost impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you can get targeted for the connector types.
Totally.
Those people are worth it, but in general.
I totally agree. I mean,
Spend money towards building unique content. That
Yes.
brings more people in, and that's going to be the value.
Totally.
Paid advertising.
I come from the editorial side of things. I've always, and so it's really interesting to me. I was part of the startup team of The Alibi, which back then was New City, and then another one in Seattle called The Stranger. And, I've always been on the editorial side, though, and it's interesting now being the publisher and making those decisions and both selling advertising and considering buying advertising. I've always been a little like, ooh, advertising. But I think that's one of the things where I'm happy with how we've shaped our offerings. It's not just
Yeah, you can
display.
getting more people is one way, and then increasing the lifetime value
Yeah.
of that person by either showing more focused ads, keeping the engagement there. To keep
Engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So increasing the value of every visitor.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hi, Kara. Hi.
So I have a question. So with your, the people that are coming in to pay for the subscription, the $15 subscription, who are trying to start up their own businesses and utilize the paperwork that you have available?
Yeah.
Would you be offering them some sort of a mentorship to sort of like guide them in a direction, or is that something perhaps in the future you would?
We have totally talked about that, and I think starting as soon as January, we're going to be offering call-in office hours. But that's not one-on-one, and then we're not quite ready to do something one-on-one, but we've discussed it, and we really like that idea, and maybe that's like a higher level. We're not, because it's only $15 a year. It's not per month. Yeah, but we're tiptoeing, baby stepping into it, but I like that idea a lot because it's all about sharing the information.
Yeah. I mean, and your happy hour is anyone invited to come in and sort of, work with ideas that everyone else has together to kind of figure out the direction that they're going in? Is that something that the happy hour is?
Yeah, I had referred to self-employed happy hour before, and then I failed to follow up. So one of the things that we started in September, we restarted. It's called Self-Employed Happy Hour. It's our podcast, and we invite. We basically invite people who are doing their own thing, And so it could be a self-employed artist. It could be a gallery owner. And so, we invite people. It's funny you mentioned that because we were talking about having our office hours, our call-in office hours, piggybacking on self-employed happy, because we're all in a room. It's hard to get us all in a room sometimes. And then we always have some interesting guests. We had Len Romano on from Ripe. 2 weeks ago, we had Crispin Glover on, which blew my. He was in my living room. We interviewed Crispin Glover, the actor, which was amazing. And he's kind of known as this quirky, eccentric actor, but he's a real independent artist. He's out there hustling. He's like touring his own films. He's doing his own booking. He's answering all his own emails, and it was really, he's very businesslike. And so he was a great person to interview. So anyway, yes, we like those ideas, and we will be doing those. Yes.
By looking for a creative, does that mean you're looking for a designer for the site?
The whole, design, not only it's not so much designer, but just somebody who is really thinking about creative assets, about visuals. These 4 editors who I love, we sit together and we have great ideas, but we're not necessarily visual thinkers. I have been because I have to be. I've become more. I never really used to, but now I kind of have to. So I'm, thinking a lot about that. So somebody to, we're not quite ready to hire a real director, so now we're doing this resident thing, where they're going to contribute their look, their aesthetic, some new, fresh stuff, because we haven't been we've been really strong with editorial, weaker with visuals, with photos. We just don't have big budgets for that. So we're trying to get more. So designer, photo, but eventually, creative director, somebody who's really looking out for the whole creative look, and then designers, production people. I mean, just somebody to do the text layout. We don't have enough help with that right now.
Someone sees those very, very similarities in transferable skills between creative startups and any startup.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to you about combining entrepreneurial office hours that we already exist and adding a creative component to it.
That'd be awesome. And that's with whom?
It's every Wednesday, 3 to 5 at the first building.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's talk. That sounds great.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Sorry, I have one more question, and forgive me because I'm a little slow.
Yeah.
The 6,500 number, again, earlier I assumed that was a contributor base.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 editors curating the content from a base of contributors? Or?
Exactly. Most of our content is original, written for Pyrograph. We pay our writers. And guess what? Most online publications do not. And so we have loyal, happy writers. We pay $25 a post. It's not a lot of money, but it's, we set the bar high on voice and low on research. So tell a story. You don't have to spend hours going out interviewing people. Tell a story, something entertaining, and what you learn from, about 500 words, roughly.
Is there interaction between, I guess at the end of it, are you trying to curate a community or content?
Both.
Are you trying to get people to...
We are more content than community, but both, because there definitely is, we're trying to keep a conversation going, and the voices and the bloggers that we choose, sometimes they come to us, more and more they're coming to us because we're getting more and more exposure, but we want to create the conversation. That's what we base our choices on, and there's no right or wrong. Just because I post a blog post from somebody about their approach. Yesterday was a band, how they found sponsors for their tour. And, some other band members, some other musicians might say, God, what sellouts. We're not, so you kind of take it for what it is, but we choose it based on, we think that there's quality to their writing and integrity to their story. But we are really more publishing. We're not, we edit, and we don't edit heavily because, again, we want the voice in there, but we're not user-generated content.
Right. You're not trying to be ready.
Exactly.
$25, people. Write it.
Yes?
If you could have the ideal sort of profile for somebody to fulfill the role, the design role that you're looking for, what would they be like so we can help you?
Oh, you're awesome. Well, the thing, we need a vision person who has a good aesthetic and who knows what's current and who I like their look. I'm happy with how we look, but we don't have enough. We don't have a real direction right now. Like what's next? We can't look like this forever. So somebody with vision and a good aesthetic and who's on trend but not too trendy. And I say, the reason I kind of waffled at the beginning of the answer is because we also just need production. We need a production monkey. But that's not, I don't think that's what you're asking. We do need production help because I end up doing too much. Everybody ends up doing too much of the actual text layout. But if I had to pick a production monkey versus a vision person, I'd pick the vision person.
Do they need technical skills? Do they need to be able to
Yes.
edit on the web?
Yes, yes. I mean, they need to know file formats, specs, that kind of stuff. And in a perfect world, they also do have some text layout skills. Because text layout is not, like this is our, I have one copy of this. And by the way, if you are interested in the sponsorships, it's, you can see sponsorships ad. You can click on that. Down at the bottom, it's a sponsor us link. This is the print version of our sponsorship booklet, but just you'd be surprised at how hard it is. Like I assigned a couple projects like this to young designers, and I was horrified. I mean, they had no idea. I ended up doing this whole thing, and one time I got back like a drawing of a flame. I was just like, oh, no. So text layout is not, I realize it's kind of not entry level. I'm not a designer. I've been just in publishing so long. Sometimes I don't realize how much I've learned along the way that I can do this. And I'm like, oh God, yeah, you don't know what I meant, do you? And I'm a pretty good communicator. I try to be specific and sometimes, yeah.
So for the competitive landscape, are who do you find like most matches? Like who's the industry leader in what you're trying to do? Is that in traditional?
I don't know. I've looked, of course. If anybody finds a similar model, please tell me. There are a lot of artists who write on their site. They have a blog about, I'm a photographer, and they give like business tips, how do they manage clients, intellectual property, that kind of stuff. I see that all the time, but I've never seen them grouped into a magazine format. That was kind of my light bulb moment, like, I'm gonna make a magazine out of this. And I think it's something that we're vulnerable to because I think a competitor with a lot of money could come in and do this. But
3 more questions.
But also, not everybody is good at working with, a lot of our writers are not professional writers. Again, the bar is high on voice and willingness to be honest and vulnerable. Not always. It doesn't always have to be all the mistakes you made, but we're really good at working with people who aren't professional writers. I've always been good at that, and I've gotten better. A lot of publishing people think it's really hard. So that's a competency that we have. So maybe it isn't that easy, but I have not seen anything like it. And I've looked and looked, and we've been doing it almost 2 years now.
Take a look at your analytics.
Yeah.
See what search queries are coming up popular for you, where you come up at least sort of high.
Yes.
Find out who's above you, and that'll be your competitor for those search queries anyway.
Yeah.
That's basically who you're.
That's a great way to look at it, yeah. Even if their model's a little different.
Right.
Gotcha.
There's still people looking for something that you're matching at least somewhere in that range. So the people above you are basically competitors.
That's a good way to look at it. Thank you, yeah.
They're taking your traffic.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't matter exactly what they do, but they're taking the
Right.
calls that you want.
Thank you.
One question here.
One more question?
This is actually a tip. Looking for design, layout, and production people, connect with SUVA. They train people at Southwest University of Visual Arts.
Oh, awesome.
They train people in this. They have classes and all this. And if you just,
Where are they based?
They're based in Tucson, but they have a branch campus here.
Awesome.
Practically walking distance from here almost.
Awesome. I did not know about them.
So let's talk afterwards, and I'll connect you with sort of their placement director.
That's awesome.
And there's all kinds of people who are trained.
Thank you.
I've got one more
Cool.
question for you.
Great.
What's the #1 brass tacks thing that we can do, all these folks here, to find people for Pyrograph next step right now?
Let people know about us. Let people know that we are Albuquerque based. We have an opportunity. I think Pyrograph gives a great opportunity to highlight the local creative resources and scene here. And that's what we do. Because we're based here, we naturally have a strength in, there's a little bit more New Mexico coming off our pages. And it's great because the creative well here is deep. So let people know that we are a growing Albuquerque-based publication reaching a global audience and highlighting creative industries and creative workers. The creative economy is a big deal, and we want to help participate and move forward in a fun way. And we're fun. We're not trade. We're not like boring how-to. I think that's what also makes us different. So just let everybody know about it. Please send people to Pyrograph. Share our stories. That's gold. We live and breathe on that.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, everybody's quiet again. All right. Thank you. All right, our second presenter is actually a returning presenter. She was here the second week with our last presenter, and she will update us on her progress. It is Dara Ambries with Runway Apparel. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'm back. And so for those of you who are not familiar with Runway Apparel, Nick, am I too loud? I'm okay. Okay. If you're not familiar with Runway Apparel, we are a clothing boutique in the Northeast Heights on the corner of Academy and Wyoming in the Whole Foods Shopping Center. Yes, we collaborate with a lot of local organizations like Soul in the back, and we've been in operations for 5 years. So I was asked, why am I here if you've been in operations for 5 years? I got involved with the organization last September, so got thrown into the mix of things and really am a startup myself. So coming to A Million Cups, it really challenged me to think about what I wanted to do, my vision for the community, my vision for the store, my vision for myself. And I had a really hard look because I had a number of things that were happening in the community from August until this morning. I was on the Morning Brew this morning. So I had a lot of conversations with so many amazing people in this community. And what really has helped me is that there are so many people in this community that want to see you succeed. And so I had to throw that up there, and I'm going to try not to be emotional, but I am. So after my Million Cups, I talked about my vision to become a designer. I talked about my vision to support some huge community projects. We had Dîner en Blanc, which is an international dinner that happens that we had here in Albuquerque, and I was asked to take a lead in the fashion space for that. I was asked to be part of a panel at Santa Fe Fashion Week to talk about the business behind fashion. And I was asked to participate in this market research study to talk about the opportunity to grow the creative space here in Albuquerque, looking at how we can elevate fashion here, how we can support designers and creative types through an incubator space like Fat Pipe. And it scared the hell out of me because I thought, what am I gonna do to be able to pull that off? And so again, I reached out to the people in this community, and they gave me advice, they sat down with me, they talked with me, they gave me ideas, and they supported us. We did kind of a grassroots campaign, kind of like a Kickstarter campaign, where we really asked people to come in and support the boutique. It was called Expand the Runway. We asked folks to come in and to purchase a gift card, and we would add some additional dollars to that. And if they were attending Dîner en Blanc, then they could use that money towards the outfit, because I had to fly out to LA because Dîner en Blanc was in October, and you don't wear white after Labor Day, or they say. So me and a really good friend, we were human mules, and we packed up all the white we could in LA and brought it back. And part of what Runway Apparel is we create that exclusiveness. So as I'm haggling with my showrooms and my vendors to get as many small piece quantities as possible, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to sell white after Dîner en Blanc until next spring, I wanted to make sure whoever shopped with us was wearing a unique look, because even though there was 800 people at that event, the first person you'd run into is the person that's wearing the same dress that you're wearing. So we did this, and then I was asked to get involved with this really amazing organization called Hochpreneurs as a board member. And that is a group that supports women entrepreneurs and inclusive to men who support those women. We also partnered with UNM on a couple of projects. One of them was a market research study that we had rolled out to us last week, by the Small Business Institute, and I was so happy to be part of that with Stu Rose and Lisa Adkins. And the amazing thing about that is we weren't sure what kind of response we'd get. They typically have like 8 people for a focus group. We had 13 women show up for that and then just gave their opinions and gave their opinions and gave their opinions. We utilized my database as far as the emails, and they thought, you know, if we can get, you know, 150 responses, that would be great. We got 250 responses, and 3% of those responses were from our male customers, which was awesome. And then I did another pitch because it's basically me doing social media, trying to run the store, trying to be out in the community to get people into the store, but being at the store when they get there to help them shop. And so I pitched to the marketing students at UNM to see if they can help me with the Kickstarter campaign and show social media aspects. And I got that tweet one night when I was designing and totally flipped out. So here's pictures from Dîner en Blanc. International picked up on the pictures of people wearing runway apparel. We had local media support through Albuquerque Business First, through KOB, through local IQ. So many fun things. Then I took on, as chair during this time, High Heels for High Hopes for the March of Dimes, bringing together some of the most philanthropic women in our community to fundraise on behalf of the organization, as well as putting together a New York-style fashion show during the event. Again, my friend Damon Scott wrote an article, and I was so pleased to see that Albuquerque sees that this is an important space. That is one of the most popular articles that week, talking about philanthropy and fashion in our community. And then it's all about the fashion. So I talked about being a guest, being part of a blog for Santa Fe Fashion Week, being part of the panel for Santa Fe Fashion Week, doing fashion shows. I had the most amazing event one day where I was in my element. In the morning, I did a fashion show. A little bit later, I did a photo shoot. That evening, super excited, I was beaming, went to Nob Hill and had dinner, was walking down Central and found that Savvy was closing, the optical shop was empty, that Golden West Trading Post was having a liquidation sale. And I totally flipped, because that is the corridor that supports local business, and if they can't have full occupancy, that scares the heck out of me. But I got over that, moved on, and worked on the next project. So I'm very passionate about that. And we received Best of the City for the best women's clothing boutique. Something that I was challenged to do was to design. So I focused on designing. I've made a number of dresses. Great friends have given me advice, talked to me about my brand for it. So it's still in the works. So it's very, 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 very new. But here's some of the looks. I was in New York City looking at fabric because I have this idea to design, and just came up with some different looks. I want to continue in that space. I just don't have enough hours in the day. So what I'm looking at in the future, and then I'll make sure I'm wrapped up, TJ. So seeing this picture at the Haute Honors breakfast last week makes me smile, because it's the 2 founders with the mayor, and guess what they're wearing? Runway apparel. Now, if I could just get the mayor to wear runway apparel, that would be heaven. I was approached by Albuquerque Museum. We have the opportunity to bring things here to Albuquerque, and we need to take advantage of it. So I was approached by the Albuquerque Museum Foundation. They're bringing, from the Brooklyn Museum, an exhibit called Killer Hills. We beat out Scottsdale, we beat out Seattle. It's coming here, and it's going to Palm Springs. We need to be able to tap into that and market it. So I was going back and forth on Twitter with the Brooklyn Museum, telling them, you know, sharing is caring. Thank you so much for bringing it to our city. I was asked to co-host the Morning Brew this week, which I'm loving, and it gives me the opportunity again to get out there in front of people and talk about runway apparel, talk about fashion, and the connectiveness of what we have in the community. When I was in New York, I had a freak out moment, and I started thinking I need to put my thoughts down, so I started writing a blog. It's Ho and M Girl, if you want to follow it. It's talking about my first year in this business. Because a lot of startups, you have the opportunity to go through these incubator programs. You have these opportunities to really kind of consolidate your business before you're kind of let out into the free world. I don't. I was launched into the business. I have to run a brick and mortar store to be able to pay my employees, to be able to bring in inventory, to be able to be out there. But at the same time, I have to be out in the community. So that's the kind of things that I'm struggling with, and I think that's my issue that I'm throwing out to you guys.
So just to frame it a little bit, because you said a lot.
I did, I know. I started in 6 minutes. Too much coffee.
Reiterate that struggle real quick
of my struggle.
Because what I heard is Runway Apparel's doing fabulous things, being involved in the community, but Dara is also playing new roles, you know, co-hosting things, doing events. What's going on there?
It's multiple personalities, that's what it is. So creating that brand awareness, I mean, every time I go somewhere, I say I'm with Runway Apparel, they're like, oh, I've heard of you. And so my natural question is like, have you come in, have you shopped? Because it's great for that awareness that we're out there, we're in the community, we're dressing fabulous people, we're doing good things. But as a brick and mortar location, if I'm not having sales, if they're not up to stuff, I'm not gonna be here next year. So in 4 months, if you invite me back, I'll be like, well, this is what I'm working on now. You know, so it's that struggle of how can I be in two places at once? How can I be out in the community, involved in important things, talking about what we provide, the services we provide, you know, creating our online store, working with Soldsy, selling off of Facebook. I mean, there's so many different components with what I do that it's so important, because anytime I have the opportunity, if somebody says, I stopped by your store, you weren't there, it's a lost opportunity for me, and I can't miss out on that. So
how are you handling that right now with that that dualism? I think we asked this question before. Being out there and being so community driven, you obviously have a super talent for it. Is that driving the business you want to see, or is it starting to eat into it?
I think it's starting to eat into it a little bit. So I have taken, my trip to New York was kind of a moment for me to decompress and really think about things. And so I've been very selective in what I'm partnering with. So looking at, I'm huge community supporter, and I will support the community in any way that I can, but I want to be able to make sure that when I commit to an organization, that I'm going to be able to fulfill what I need to do. And this past fall was a big test for me in that, because you saw March of Dimes, you saw Danae en Blanc. What I didn't talk about was CLN Kids. I didn't talk about Albuquerque heading home. I didn't talk about my board commitments and other things. So trying to balance that is something that I'm growing into and learning from.
Cool. All right, questions?
Lawrence? I know, and me.
I think for you and your business, you are best served in your shop.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that means taking appointments or appointments in your shop. One of the big things that we've struggled with is having someone say, handle this, someone being the guy next to me. And being able to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of the things that we've struggled with, and I think that you're dealing with those as well. So maybe for you, if we need to have coffee, it needs to be Runway Apparel.
That works. Or before 10 o'clock, as long as we're before 10 o'clock.
I just want to say your enthusiasm is very contagious, and as a business owner myself, I really find that is ideal to take you places, and so maybe this is just more like a comment on how you express how much love you have for what you're doing, and I just want to say let that take you to where you want to go. I think that'll give you the momentum you need to kind of balance everything, because I understand the whole balance act of having to do it all,
Yeah.
you know, and trying to pace yourself, and just keep in mind your importance and what will really benefit you in the long run, putting your time in certain things. So.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, I think you should be passionate, enthusiastic about what you're doing, because if you're not, then get out of it. So I totally agree with that. And, you know, and looking at how to continue because I don't want to burn out. I love what I do. I love working with the people I work with. There's so many faces here that I'm so happy that they're in the audience. But I think I need to figure out how, I've met with several people and talked about, doing creative startups or the stimulus center, and I would love to take advantage of that, but I don't think they have classes from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. And that's my only, real opportunity to do that. So I need to figure out how to make that work. So I'm looking for ideas, on how, again, being able to take some of that social media piece off because the students at UNM are going to help with that and stop being such a control freak because I know I am and I need to kind of let go a little bit of that. I know will help me. Dave.
Dara, question.
Yes.
When you have to go to the store,
yeah.
is that a drag? you're among friends. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So, completely honest, I will meet up anybody who texts me and saying that they're going to go meet me in the store. If I'm in the store for 8 hours and have like 2 people walk in, that is a complete drag. I love interacting with people, but being in there and there's not that traffic, not people coming in, somebody saying, hey, I need to look for something. I'm like, tell me when you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. I want to be there when customers are coming in, but yeah, it is a drag when there's nobody coming in.
So my quick thought is, and I don't know if this is helping and maybe posing the impossible, but you're kind of the evangelist for Runway Apparel. You're not necessarily, born to manage a brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you do it poorly. I'm just saying, what do you
I am.
do?
It's okay. Yeah.
So if you can somehow replace the energy and the passion in the store,
yeah.
That's not an easy assignment.
Yeah.
But if you could do that and free yourself up to be more of the evangelist, then that would be a great path forward.
And you know what? I had this great conversation on Monday with a new friend and talked about that because if I could figure out some way, and of course this is every entrepreneur, every business owner's dream, to figure out what my hard costs are for the year and not have to worry about that component and being out in the community and talking to people and getting people in there, styling people. If I could figure that out, and if somebody's got that answer, I would give you the biggest hug. But if I could figure that out, then I could get that couple extra hours of sleep, and when I wake up, it's more of that creative instead of that panic setting in. So yeah, I totally get that. Thanks, Dave. Missy.
Good morning. You did a
Come on.
fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
If you have no limits, what would you plan to do?
If I had no limits, it would go on that. If I had the funding to take care of the store, take care of inventory, making sure that my customers were well kept, I would be out in the community looking, okay, where's our next space? Who can we partner with? Who can I meet with? How can we move fashion forward? How can we create an incubator? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But the next evolution would be that in case continuing down that path of how can we elevate fashion, creativity, manufacturing, all those components here in New Mexico, and then grow out. It's sad to me that people are standing in line spending the night for H&M. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, that is sad to me. I mean, looking at the amazing creative spaces, I think Perry talked about that. Why aren't we more excited about supporting local stores, local artists, local designers, and getting that out into different markets?
I'm hearing your perfectionist tendencies, being a control freak myself. But I'm wondering how much is time management and prioritization and deciding what role you actually want to be. And if you have sought out any kind of feedback or coaching or mentorship in that arena, because it's sounding like you're getting scattered because you're an idea person and interested in a lot of things.
And it's funny because I used to be a trainer in my previous life and used to focus on time management, organizational development, and that whole small business thing, totally flipped a script on that. So yes, and it's more, a lot of times it's reactionary again. In looking at, our social media plan, the business plan, that component, a lot of it is reactionary, and I do need to be able to sit down and talk with somebody and really get those visions, ideas through, and actually commitment and keep me accountable for that. I just need to figure out how to do that. Okay, good. Jessica.
I was going to say a couple things, but in response to that, I mean, a lot of us here are small business owners, and it's
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah.
But when you're first launching, sometimes you are putting out fires and there's just no way to avoid it. You'll grow out of that. It will happen, so be patient with yourself and don't be critical of yourself, because this is, I don't know a single business owner that has launched their own business that hasn't struggled with the very issues you're struggling with, whatever the industry. Part of it is you wear all hats until you have the revenue stream and the profit.
Exactly, yeah.
To start hiring and delegating.
Yeah.
You kind of have to figure out what your priorities are. And the other thing I was going to say is that really this comes back to the community, and I'll say it if you're not going to say it, but if everybody's sitting in this room, if you haven't gone into Runway and seen what they offer and actually open your mind to the idea that there might be something in there that you'd like to purchase, then you're not helping local businesses. And this goes for anybody that presents here. We should all be supporting each other. But if you have a shop there,
yeah. Yeah, and I'll give you my cell phone number.
2 more questions.
Right here.
First off, thanks very much for the presentation.
Sure.
This is my first time here. My name's Nicholas, but I have one idea that occurred to me immediately from what you just told me. And this is something that I've needed in my own personal affairs as well. If you are as enthusiastic and successful as promotions and big picture ideas like that, would it be worth considering some of these college-educated, highly talented, and underemployed 20-somethings with whom you could partner, who could run the day-to-day affairs of the store with the notion, I don't know what your equity or capital position is now, with the notion that sometime down the road that person might actually become an official legal partner, thereby taking part of the ownership of the business. Work here a couple of years, I pay you now.
Yeah.
Well, here you get 10% in a couple of years. Now, if you were a 20-something with a college degree who's working,
I'll do it.
You're hired.
One more real quick.
Okay, I'm going to get personal for a second. I've been to your shop as a business owner. Just like you, I have a lot of competition in this town. We do massage and skincare. Our competition's unbelievable. I'm trying to step more into the out there meeting people. I went to your shop. I could not find a single thing that fit me. As a bigger businesswoman, that is a struggle. So I'm asking and pleading, are you looking into this niche market of shit that will fit me?
So the thing about that is it's difficult in the showrooms as well. So yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities for plus sizes because I've had that feedback before. And so we carry women's sizes 0 to 14 in some cases, but it's very difficult, and there's minimums around that as well. And so I hear you in that. But let's talk, because I might be able to do personal shopping for you.
I was just going to say, if you become a customer of hers, she'll actually send you styles that she thinks look well in you.
Yeah.
She'll deliver them.
Yeah.
She'll even text you from LA, from Market, with photos of things
Yeah.
like
This, yeah. You get it. Okay.
Dara, what's the number one thing we can do for you?
Oh, God. Shop at Runway Apparel. Shop. I'm like, it's the holiday season, last-minute gifts, gift cards, tell your friends, have people come in. Next time somebody says, oh, yeah, I've heard of Runway Apparel, follow-up question, when was the last time you were in there? I have my business cards. I love talking with people. I'm not afraid to give you my text number as long as you don't spam me with stuff. But please, creating that awareness, and not just me, for all the small business owners in this community, really, I would love to meet for coffee. If it's before 10 a.m., I can do it. If not, then come to the store. But if a customer comes in, know that I'm going to have to say, excuse me, I have to work with the customer. But thank you guys so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.